Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. This is episode 99. I am one of your hosts, Corey Derig, and alongside me, as always, is the Jotun Toten, the Vault Dwelling, the mayor of the Deep Stone Crypt, the disciple himself, my favorite co-host on the Citadel, the flawless Fall Guy, Josh Finney.
God, I fucking hate Fall Guys so much. I've been playing Fall Guys for the last day or two because there's a Halo event going on, and I'm starting to wonder just how much I even care. I care more about the skin I'm getting in Fortnite. You can earn Major Man Cake right now in Fortnite from playing like 100 rounds of Fall Guys. Over the next week?
What's Major Man Cake?
It is a man who is very buff, and he has a short stack of pancakes for a head.
What?
Yes. Man Cake is one of the NPCs you can talk to. He's usually dressed like a cowboy.
Interesting.
But like the butter on his head like slides around when he's running. And so does the syrup, and his back bling is like a waffle maker. So I feel like his pickaxe that you can get is a fork with pancakes on the end. So I feel a mighty need to get this just for the memes.
But who doesn't like a good stack of pancakes, first of all? You know, with some melty butter.
Me.
What?
I'm not a huge pancake guy. I'll be honest. I would take waffles and good French toast over pancakes.
I mean, I'll take waffles over pancakes any day, but I'm just saying I enjoy a good old stack.
It depends on where I'm getting the pancakes from too.
What if they were frozen funfetti pancakes, Josh?
Oh, they are definitely at the bottom of the fucking list then.
Well, guess what? My daughter loves them, so
I can't stand them. We used to get the little like bags of them, the mini bags. We used to get the chocolate chip ones because I didn't eat a whole lot of breakfast when I was still working in the office.
Yeah.
And Chelsea would wake up to go to school and she'd leave me in the kitchen so our apartment used to basically be a studio apartment. Our bed was actually a bedroom. It was where we put our couch, our dressers, and the computer at. And we threw down our bed in the living room where we could feel all the air from the vents. Well, our kitchen then was about 5 feet away from the bed. So she woke up one morning and was like, "What are you doing?" And I had gotten the whipped cream out of the fridge and I was like spraying whipped cream onto the little chip pancakes. I was informed at that point we could no longer get the chocolate chip pancakes. Because I was doing it like on her days off from school. And so I was waking her up at like 7 in the morning, spraying fucking whipped cream on the other side of the bed. Yeah.
Makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
Sounds like something you would do.
But Corey?
Yeah.
We've got some Destiny to talk about.
We do have Destiny to talk about.
Episode 100 next week.
I know. It's
next week.
It's coming up, Josh. You know what else is next week is Bungie Day. As if you haven't noticed, everybody, we've been praising our great luck that episode 100 of this show would fall on Bungie Day.
Pure dumb luck.
Yeah.
Pure dumb luck, my friends.
Yeah, and we're also going to do the show live on the Tower Casuals Twitch channel, so you can head on over to twitch.tv/Tower Casuals and hit a quick follow there, and you'll be able to watch us with our friends A1 Johnny and Nerd Generalist as we celebrate 100
Yep,
episodes.
The boys are getting back together.
Anyways, Josh, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. We're good. Just a reminder that episode 100 is next week. Get your memories, favorite Destiny memories, your questions in. And I realized I forgot to say the email last week. We were alerted by some of y'all that I forgot to say that. towercasuals@gmail.com. We'll say it at the end of the episode again, too, like we always do. But send in those questions, send in those memories. Reminder that sending in a question memory will get you an entry into the contest that we're going to do for the Destiny book and for some of the emblems that we have to give away. Like I have 3 or 4 emblems that I've been able to determine that I can like reliably use. Got those. We have got the book that I am planning for Corey and I to both sign. And yeah, that is how you enter one way by sending us your question or your your Destiny memory, and then by showing us that you have rated and reviewed the pod. Also are the other 2 ways. So you can get a total of 3 entries, and we want to make sure that you guys all get an equal chance. That doesn't mean like, oh, God, I reviewed it like 6 months ago when y'all started asking. Like, no, dude, just proof that you did it. Show us proof you did it. Show us proof that you did that and that you did a review, and it will count. No worries here.
Yeah.
Also, something that we learned this week that is going on sale next week on Bungie Day.
Ooh, Josh showed me this.
I believe at noon Eastern is when it's going. Noon Eastern or noon Pacific. I'm gonna have to find the exact time, and I'll tweet it out from the account. But the Bungie Rewards Nerf Gallarhorn is going on sale next week on Bungie Day. That is when it will find. If you have completed Grasp of Avarice, you will be able to do the pre-order for it. And they said any remaining Gallarhorns will be made available for general order. This is a limited item. We don't know how limited, but if it works like how Nerf has done limited guns in the past, they basically open pre-orders for a set amount of time and then they close them. So they have an edition size. I would wager it's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15 to 20,000. That feels like what they did for the Needler, which I also have ordered through Nerf that is supposed to come out this year. So I'm spending like $200 in Nerf guns, by the way, this year. Easily. Because Gallarhorn alone before shipping is $185.
Jeez.
That gun looks fucking awesome, though.
It does look
There
cool.
was a whole post about it on the Bungie blog earlier this week, showing, some of the designers at Nerf and at Bungie, like, holding it. That thing is a fucking unit.
So
it's a whole ass unit.
Question. Why is it orange?
I would assume because it's Nerf, and because the exact, like, version of Gallarhorn that's already been produced as a prop was made by McFarlane a couple years ago.
Oh, right. I forgot they did that.
I don't know that they can get away with making it look exactly like Gallarhorn. That being said, if I could find the McFarlane one for the same price right now, I feel like I would buy that instead.
Yeah.
This thing, I got to figure out where to mount it because I have no room in my office. I have threatened to mount it in the living room, and my girlfriend was actually completely okay with it. But I have a feeling this is the last Destiny thing I'm allowed to buy for quite a long time that is, like, big and expensive.
To be fair, you say that every time you buy something Destiny related.
I say that every time because I keep expecting her to, like, she gets mad at me and then, like, a day or two later has completely forgotten about the conversation. So I can, as long as I don't press my luck, and I think, like, being able to pay for it up front helps too. Like, okay, I'm not going to have to, like, have this charge just hanging out on our card. I just pay it now. Maybe I'll, like, make a half-hearted promise to skip the Lightfall Collector's Edition or something. Yeah. I'll skip the next 3 Numbskull statues. There we go.
I mean, I'm not skipping those. I love those things. Those are.
I will skip Lord Shaxx and Savathun in order to get a Nerf Gallarhorn.
Okay, I'll probably skip Savathun because she's $210 and
she's massive.
Yeah. Although I hope that Shaxx one is just that one store is $120 because why would you charge $50 for a statue that's just like the other ones of a character you've already released a 12-inch figure for?
Yeah, that was kind of the interesting one. It's like, is he going to be like that much taller or bigger?
No, he's the same size. It's the same size.
Or is this just like inflation is hitting everybody now?
Well, also, that pre-order was for Big Bad Toy Store, and they price hike everything.
They do.
So
they do.
But yeah, I mean, once that comes to like Amazon or the Bungie store, I will be pre-ordering that. I love these statues.
I will not order from the Bungie store. If I can get things literally anywhere else, I do it.
Well, I usually get everything from Amazon. So
yeah, the shipping on the Bungie store is just so god awful.
Yeah.
Plus, like, it's honestly what's kept me from going and getting a couple other like little things, because I was thinking like, oh, maybe like I could do like some of the Pride pins or something to give away during Pride Month, and then I looked at the price that it was going to cost me to ship like 3 of those, and it was like $15 for pins. For pins, man. I was like, man, I used to think that it was just like expensive to ship the Bungie Rewards ones because they come in the clamshell boxes.
Right. Nope.
I really miss the company they used to use.
Yeah, it's nuts, man.
No, it's a shame because they always have cool stuff, and like Bungie Day is coming up, which means I know there's gonna be cool shit in the store.
Yeah. I just man, these like the numbskull statues are so cool though.
They are really cool. They're really detailed. I'm glad that the one I have is Elsie.
Yeah.
If I see Cade on sale, I'll probably get Cade.
Oh, he was on sale on Amazon the other day. I mean, like $10 off.
Well, god damn it.
Sorry, I meant to tell you and I forgot.
No, it's okay. I mean, realistically, like thinking about it, I do have like plenty of things. The one that would really cause me to like consider, okay, do I need to fork out money for this, would be if they did like an Oryx or a Crota.
Yeah.
I would really consider them. Mithrax. God, I'd really consider Mithrax.
Yeah. Well, the rumor is that because they've been taking polls for who do you want to see as the next statue.
Yeah.
The rumor is either Zavala or Crow.
I really can't believe Zavala's not one already.
I know.
That's really strange to me.
I know. I can't believe
It feels like they had a pattern there, like, okay, we're going to do the 3 principles from Beyond Light, and then just like kind of throw shit at the wall after that.
Well, no, because then they did Cade. And it's like, okay, well,
that's what I'm saying. Like, they just threw shit at the wall.
Well, no, because then you say, oh, well, they're doing Cade, so they're doing the original 3 Vanguards next, right? That was my thought.
Mm-hmm.
But no, well, Shax. Ooh. No offense, but Shax
doing in between those.
Shax is like the least interesting character. No offense to Shax.
And it's like, it's largely because they haven't recast the actor, I think.
Yeah.
It's largely because of Lenny James. Like, we've read so much Shax lore on this show. Like, we love Lord Shax. But he's just so boring in game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't mean like overall.
He's never had like a legit storyline. Like, one of the only things we've ever gotten is that Devil's Ruin quest.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that's probably the last time they recorded actual dialogue for the Man Zoo. Somebody send my man Lenny James a recording setup like Lance Reddick has in his closet.
Right? I mean, you would think that some of these companies would just provide that for these actors, you know, just provide it.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to move on. Let's dive into the TWAB. It's been a few weeks since we had one of these.
The TWAB.
We actually do have quite a bit for a mid-season weapons pass, which I believe is happening next week, if not the week after. I don't see an exact date in here when I'm looking through it really quickly, but maybe it'll be listed down at the bottom. This all comes from Chris Proctor, the senior design lead. A very long time before we hear from Kevin Yanes again, unfortunately, thanks to some of the shithead fans out there. Which that is like taken on a whole life of its own. Like Sony Santa Monica devs are like getting unsolicited dick pics over not releasing the release date, and like freaking out because a state of play didn't happen in June like it was widely reported it was going to happen. It's one of the few times that I can remember, like, personally, that I think Jason has just like been completely wrong about something. But even he was like, when he even said it back at the beginning of June, he was like, last I heard there was supposed to be one in June. I don't know if there's actually one happening. And then this week was like, it's been scrapped for whatever reason. So probably the earliest you're going to get it is like maybe mid-July now. I don't know. I don't know what happens with that, but that's kind of wild that we're going to be like 3 months away from the release of one of the biggest games, maybe of the entire generation, and we know nothing about it. I digress.
Well, do you think? I digress. You think? I think. Look, God of War, they can do one if it's supposed to be out in November, they could do one in October and be like, sell 20 million copies. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you have to, like, just because of the marketing dollars that go into a campaign for a game like this, you do have to get those out. Like, there's legal contracts if they have tie-ins with literally anything that they have to start promoting it by a certain time.
There's that God of War Doritos, flaming hot Doritos.
Hey man, I wouldn't put it past them. They do have a really close relationship with Dark Horse, I think, is what I'm like trying to get at. Like, I know they're doing a comic of some kind with them, and they've been doing, a lot of their collectibles. I suspect Dark Horse is probably making the collector's edition stuff as well. So I'm interested to see what's happening on all that front. Like, that's got to be part of it. Maybe there's a God of War small experience, like a tech demo or something that's being made ready for PSVR. Like, then you got to push all that back. There's a lot that goes into it, I feel, for any major AAA game. But it's like we always say, like, until you're physically holding the game or actually playing it on your console for the first time, it can still be delayed. It can still get pushed back. I mean, Saints Row was supposed to come out in February. Now it's been punted to August, and I'll be shocked if it even makes it out in August.
Yeah.
Starfield, we had a date for Starfield for a year and some change, and then it got punted. Like, that's the date that I think God of War is coming out. If it makes it out this year, it's 11/11/22. That's when it's happening. Book it here. Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast, told you God of War out in November.
You think it'll be 11/11?
But Corey, 11/11. That would just be hilarious for a number of reasons to me. But that also is like one of the only weeks where there's no major releases once you get out of September. So, this TWAB though, Corey, there's a lot here, and this is meant to shift the PvP meta largely, is what we're seeing here. A little for the month or so before Season 18 launches. So I believe this is the Solstice patch. So, and there will be a smaller patch when Season 18 launches. It will not be a big patch. They moved a lot of it forward. And we're going to see why right away. Right away, they address airborne effectiveness, which has been a huge source of debate, really, since the last time we talked about a TWAB, when they did a whole lot of your own math. Airborne effectiveness. Improved baseline airborne accuracy and aim assist for all primary weapons. Static airborne effectiveness buff has been added to some existing perks. Raised base AE stat on several exotic weapons. Tuned up underperforming primary weapon subfamilies in PvP. Increased pellet shotgun damage in PvE. Increased ammo per special brick for Glaive's Forerunner and Ariana's Vow in PvP. Linear fusion rifles no longer receive increased flinch in PvE. Will still receive them in PvP. Nerfs tune down some overperforming exotics in PvP. So that's the too long don't read. Or too long don't listen. We're going to go into it a little bit more here. Airborne effectiveness. So I think like the hardcore PvP community is really what's been upset about this. The people who like to use Icarus Dash, Icarus Grip, things like that. So let's play out some of these. So reduced airborne penalties for all primary weapons. These changes are roughly equivalent to increasing the base AE stat of primary weapons by 15 at low stat values. Reduced the penalty at low AE by 20 to 40% depending on weapon type. 40% reduction will be on auto rifle, pulse rifle, scout rifle, and SMGs. 20% for hand cannon and sidearm. 30% for bows. Reduced airborne auto aim. So bullet bending, mouse and keyboard and controller penalty by 20%. And reduced airborne magnetism, which is reticle stickiness, controller only, penalty by 40%. So I think it kind of just means like you're not gonna be like constantly snapping back if you're on controller.
Right.
Which for people who play a lot of trials or a lot of comp, this is something you really want to see. Yeah. These are all good changes. I am like the least jumpy hunter you've ever met, so this doesn't really affect me as a whole. But I have a lot of friends who like to play, jumpy hunters or who like to play as warlocks that fly through the air on that silver class. This is what they've been asking for. This is what they want. And some perks now give a static airborne effectiveness stat buff in addition to their other effects. Air Assault gives you plus 10 at all times in addition to plus 60 when at low health. Extended Mag gives you plus 10 and steady rounds plus 7. I like that. I like to run Extended Mag and steady rounds on SMGs in particular. And with SMGs getting the biggest buff already, this is just nothing but good news for the Steady Hands Dragonfly and Steady Hands Adrenaline Junkie rolls I have on Unforgiven from the dungeon. Weapon archetypes. Let's talk about some of these. Hand cannons, precision hand cannons, which are the 180s, have languished for a while. We find to soften their time to kill in PvP. We find this makes them a lot more competitive, particularly with their innate plus 25 bonus to AE. Increased body shot damage from 37 to 40. Crit moves from 57 to 60. Can now kill in 2 crit, 2 body against Guardians. Kills in 1.33 seconds in body shots. Auto rifles, precisions, which are the 450, so your Shadow Price, for example, have fallen behind other ARs, particularly because they are more reliant on hitting a higher proportion of crits to reach full time to kill. Increased body shot damage from 19 to 20. Precision multiplier moves from 1.6 to 1.5. Crit damage will stay the same at 30. Great. I actually like to run 450s in Crucible often, particularly in momentum control. I think they're a lot of fun. Scout rifles. We don't want them to be too effective. We don't want long-range weapons to compete with short-range weapons for ease of use or time to kill. There's room to make scout rifles better in PvP and add some primary weapon competition to snipers at longer ranges. Precisions, which are your 180s. Increased body damage from 34 to 38. Crit moves from 54.4 to 60.8. Can 2 crit 2 body against 197 HP, which is health plus shields or lower. Kills in 1.33 seconds in body shots against 190 HP or lower. High impacts, which are your 150s. So I want to say that is your Jade Rabbit, for example. Increased body damage from 38.2 to 42. Crit moves from 66.9 to 73.5. Can 2 crit 1 body against 189 HP or lower. Love it. I love using scouts in PvP. This is just great news for me. I have been using the Mack truck of a new scout this season, and this is great. It's great. I also use Night Watch a lot, so getting the 180s to kill quicker, love it. Shotguns, pellet shotguns, PvE damage bonus from 10% to 25%. That's absolutely wild. I got the new one without remorse with incandescent on it the other night from the Leviathan.
Nice.
Chef's kiss right there. Linear fusion. The flinch increase on linear fusion rifles was fairly effective, but it was global. It hurt their usability in PvE. We made a change that applies this increased flinch to damage coming only from players instead. So Lawrence Driver, in other words, has been indirectly nerfed by this. Thank God.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing that thing.
Meanwhile, Storm Chaser will be even easier for you to use if you have been lucky to get one from the dungeon.
Great.
Yeah, I just need to get one from the dungeon.
Yeah.
Glaives. Glaives were not generating enough ammo from a kill for a single brick, so we've corrected that issue. Ammo per special brick from 1 to 2 in PvP. Damage scalers on trace rifles, such as Killing Tally or Aegir Scepter, Ariana's Vow, and Fighting Line were not functioning as intended. The fix for this will restore that functionality for most weapons, but an update to Fighting Line will come later. Currently planned for the launch of Season 18. Exotic. God, there's a lot of exotic ones here. Lawrence Driver is still oppressive to play against, and we wanted to address this more thoroughly. Aim assist has been reduced from 32 to 22, reduced suction against other players, removed the universal 2x flinch nerf from the previous change. Since we've changed flinch for all LFRs, this change also applies to Arbalest. Here we go. Here's the one where Gambit players, all 15 of them, cried out in terror. Gallarhorn is too dominant as a heavy weapon choice in PvP and Gambit. Due to proximity detonation making it very easy to use, and Wolfpack rounds finishing Guardians, you should be far enough away to be safe. Primary Rocket no longer has proximity detonation. Wolfpack rounds now deal half damage to opposing players. Wild. The last word has reached the usage level on controller where it warranted adjustments. With this change, it will be harder to land crits, while hip firing will be less deadly at extended range. Hip fire precision aim angle reduced by 50%.
Jeez.
The precision aim angle dictates how far off the head you can be aimed and still have aim assist grant you a crit hit instead of a body shot. Reduced damage and aim assist fall off by 3 meters. Forerunner has been bumped up to get 3 to 4 shots in PvP per ammo brick, and reduced ammo per special brick from max to 16 in PvE. Ariana's Vow has also gotten the same fix. It's gone from 1 to 2 now for every special brick. And the airborne effectiveness stat on exotic weapons, that has to be manually tuned. Suros has gone from 23 to 31, Whisper of the Worm from 9 to 20, Monte Carlo 21 to 29, and Forerunner from 22 to 27. There's a lot of mumbo jumbo there. We just kind of flew through it. Again, of course, go through, read the patch notes on your own. This will more than likely affect how you play PvP. I don't know if it'll affect builds too much, but it will affect how, like, I, for example, approach the next Iron Banner here in a few weeks. So I am really looking forward to seeing what that does. There's a new Prime Gaming bundle.
Ooh.
The mic drop emote. Yeah, I got mine the other night. There is a code in here for the Bungie emblem for this season. I believe it's the trans emblem that they did.
It is.
This year. And the code for that, it is in the TWAB, but for those of you who maybe don't have time to read, it is ML3FD4ND9.
I believe I'm still wearing that one.
Okay. Yeah, I usually have my Pride Emblem equipped during June. I believe I rotated it off. I don't know if I got it equipped this year, now that I think about it. I basically haven't played for the month of June. I played very little this month outside of like the quick story beats and then bounced off to do other things. It's been a really busy month. Maybe I'll wear it in July to make up for it. Grandmaster Nightfalls are launching on Tuesday. You guys already know all about it. Y'all know all about that stuff. They do not say when this patch is coming. I just looked through it. I assume it's coming with what do you call it? Solstice. I assume that's when we'll get it, is Solstice. I don't see it in here right now. I'm still looking. Yeah, I don't see it in here. But that is that's it. That's it. That's it for the TWAB. There's not a whole lot. As for next week, we do have some Bungie Day plans, but I don't want to spoil the surprise, so you're going to have to wait. This is the first TWAB that Sam wrote on her own. And actually, I really like how the information was all presented very clearly. It felt like something that Damage would have written up. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciated that.
I thought it was Damage at first, and then I was like, oh, no.
I did too. I did not read the tagline. It's not been Liana's been doing the last several, so
yeah.
I was very surprised to hear that.
Good job, Sam. Good job, Sam. Proud of you.
You're awesome. Yep. You're awesome. For those of you who don't know, she usually writes out the Artist of the Week and the Movie of the Week stuff for us each and every week. So we appreciate that. As always, we're going to encourage you to go look at the stuff that's down there, including the awesome Atrax 1 cosplay.
Oh, yeah.
That's is just
insane.
Wild. I can't wait to see the finish of some of the Savathun cosplays for Bungie Day.
Yeah.
They're having a whole cosplay competition, and the person who made it with a voice modulator and everything, it's fucking wild. I've been watching her progress for a month now, and I just can't get over how ridiculous that cosplay is.
Yeah.
I don't want to comprehend how much time it must take to hop in and out of that suit, etc. So that is going to be a lot of fun to take a look at next week, no matter how briefly we may be covering it. We do have some questions this week.
We do.
I think we just have the one.
Are you sure? Don't we not have two? Did Andre not send us his question?
I don't think Andre sent us a question.
Oh,
this week,
man,
so I'm
he's
a little
in trouble.
Insulted.
You know what? He thinks he's all high and mighty now because he was on Crossroads this week. So, he's big time now. So he doesn't get to write us any questions.
I'm looking through to see if we have if we are slandering anybody, and I don't think that we are. Nope, we are not slandering anybody. We have just the one. unless Corey had any email to us. Corey, you want to check the email real quick while I read this one out?
We don't have any emails. By the way,
we don't have any emails. Guys, send us emails. How dare you?
By the way, Paul Tassi replied to one of our tweets.
I saw. I was very confused because all I saw was Paul Tassi's response on my phone, and I looked through it and I was like, "Oh, well, that makes a little bit of sense why he's replying to it." This comes from RushJet TV. Question for the show: where do you guys think next season is going to take us, and what weapon would you like to see as the next pinnacle? So I'm gonna assume that means like what type of weapon, like what kind of archetype if we want to get really really specific.
I mean,
as a reminder, we've had a sniper, we've had a fusion rifle, we've had a breech-loaded grenade launcher, we've had the rocket launcher, we had chain of command this season, the LMG, and then oh god, what was last season's? I'm completely blanking now.
I don't even remember. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't remember.
Oh my god, that's how bad this is. We can't remember what last season's was. So while I look really quickly at this,
Season of the Risen Pinnacle was. Wow, look at us being an.
I genuinely just cannot believe I forgot this.
I mean, I guess you can tell we've been.
Oh my god! It was the shotgun.
Oh god! How did
it was the shotgun? God.
Hey Josh, the Pinnacle last season was that shotgun. You don't remember? Remember? Duh.
Fuck you.
Good times.
Yeah, that's how memorable it was. So with those in mind, and it seems like it seems like it's always going to be a special or a heavy. If Storm Chaser wasn't so damn good, I would say they would probably give us a linear fusion.
Yeah.
But we just got Reed's Regret. Well, not just got. We got Reed's Regret in Season of the Lost. We got Storm Chaser this season.
What about a really cool trace rifle? Depends on what the season is, kind of the theme of the season. But
yeah, I struggle to think of an interesting way you could do a pinnacle trace rifle and like make it more appealing than an exotic one, though.
Well, that's the thing, though. It's like we don't have very many legendary ones. Right?
No. You make a great point. I'm definitely not arguing with it. I think my pick would be, and it's gonna be a little unorthodox. I would say I'd really like to see a sidearm. Partially because I really like sidearms, but partially because I want to see the absolute meltdown that would happen. I think like a non-joking answer though, I think it has to be an archetype that's viable. Like it has to be some kind of weapon that's viable.
Yeah.
I almost wonder if there could be like a big, because heavy grenade launchers have been bad for a long time. If maybe you have a null composure style incident where like it's really bad in the season it comes out, but it's like OP the next season because of like certain mods. Mm-hmm. Give me a breech loaded grenade launcher again.
Yeah.
Give me a good breech loader. I could also like alternatively I could see a glaive happening, which would just be a disappointment at this point.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I am for the glaive, Josh, I don't know if I've really taken it off for a long time, to be honest with you.
The only exception I would make is if this was the first stasis glaive they gave us.
Oh god, a stasis glaive.
That would be the exception I would make.
You just want to add stuff to your stasis build. Your stasis builds.
I mean, I do. You're not wrong. But like, I guess when we dig further into it, where do we think this season is going? Because I've got a few theories. I've shared some of them kind of like baseline before.
Yeah. The current season or next season?
Next season.
Man, I don't know. I feel like it's got to be a continuation of this Keitel storyline, right? And this Callus storyline. I feel like, but
I hope not.
I want something different, but what other storylines are running parallel to this that we aren't seeing right now? Like what
There's
are
two. There's two.
What are the parallel storylines, and we'll go from there.
So obviously you've got Mithrax. You got what's going on with him. Actually, I would say there's three storylines. So you've got Mithrax going on, and I think that's the most logical one to go back to.
Mm-hmm. Especially if Arc is the
if Arc is going to be the next one, it makes sense that would be
right
the element that we kind of play with. I'd be really surprised if we didn't. I also think that the Lucian Hive are just like chilling too. You got to bring them back in, even if it's just for the seasonal storyline. You got to do that somewhere. I don't think you can let them sit on the sideline for too long.
Yeah.
Because they are this season. They're not even a factor in this season. They haven't even gotten to the moon, for God's sake.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to say that I think it's going to be a Hive-based season because King's Fall is. I'm absolutely convinced King's Fall is the thing. If it's Hive themed, I don't know that we see Mithrax again this next season. I think maybe he sits another season out. It would be an opportunity for Eris to continue in the storyline though, because Eris also played a pretty big role in Season of the Risen. I would like for it to be like, because if you want to continue the Kaido storyline, Kaido's involved in the war against Sabadon's forces at this point.
Right.
Like, why not demonstrate this as a true coalition? And if it's following like they did with Season of the Splicer when they brought back Vault of Glass, they wanted it to be the returning raid, like, oh, Vault was brought back during a season that heavily focused on the Vex.
Right.
So now there's nothing saying that it can't be Mithrax helping us fight the Hive, because I think that would also be interesting. But I wouldn't say that I think that's gospel. Like, I think his would be more of like, oh, he's helping us fight the Taken also because of the Quoria mission and the invasion of the last city.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, again, at the same time, the Vex have just kind of been chilling though. Like, you gotta bring it back to the Lucian Hive or to the Vex, one of the two. Put the scoring on the back burner for a little bit.
Yes, please. Jeez.
Let's put the scoring on the back burner. Saint and Osiris is a curious one. I don't know how you handle that as a seasonal storyline.
Yeah.
Without changing up the entire... And I feel like Saint and Osiris would just be part of Mithrax's story at this point.
Yeah.
Especially Saint. If Osiris is like still knocked out, I could see Saint and Mithrax being the guys. You maybe tie Varix into that, like get Varix to swear allegiance, and like, oh, we have to, we're trying to take down Spider. Like Spider is currying favor now with the Witness because he's just downright terrified. He's acting as the Witness's spy inside the last city or something now.
Right.
Entirely possible since we know he is in the city as of Guardian Games.
Right.
Or he is at least like very near the city. He's directly influencing events in the Batsa district where the Elixni live. The only other storyline, and the only way I see this being the one that happens next season, I truly think that this one is the one that they're saving for, because they want a greater correlation between the expansion and whatever season comes out with it. I think we finally get back to Rasputin, but I think that's still 2 seasons away. I think we get back to Rasputin and Anna Bray with the launch of Lightfall. Because Lightfall, just the name itself, implies something bad is going to happen. Why not spend that like, okay, we get the shit beat out of us in Lightfall, and the rest of the year is just us gathering all of our allies. If we're going to be at full strength, we got to have Rasputin. We got to have Anna Bray on the light side. We got to solve Elsie's time looping issues. We got to have her with us. Maybe we go back and uncover the final secrets of Clovis Bray. Like, Mithrax can be a part of all that. Deal with Aramis once and for all. I don't know. I feel like we're going to be pretty set on Kaido. Like, at this point, it feels like the Cabal fleet is probably going to do an inversion of the Red War and evacuate us at some point.
Right.
Now that Dead Orbit has just left. I could see it being like a whole bunch of Cabal cruisers and fallen catches that evacuate the citizens of the last city.
Yeah.
But I'm not really sure what you do beyond that. I do think next season, it probably comes down to one of two things. Either you're going back to the Mithrax and Saint storyline, or we're just continuing to hang out with Eris. The only thing I will say is I think that Crow gets a season off.
I mean, it's
even though
time,
he's
right?
largely been the guy that we're telling the seasonal stories through, has been him and Zavala for the most part.
Right.
It's time. It's time to give him a season off.
Yeah, but it's time to see what these other characters are doing too, though.
Yes,
you know.
I would love Lord Shaxx to get, even if they have to say, well, I mean, what if we find out, similar to how we found out, oh my God, the pyramids are just here.
Yeah.
When what was it? Season of Arrivals came out.
Yeah.
What if we find out, oh my God, the pyramid ships are just, it's like the pyramids are here, because we forget there's a whole fleet just fucking around like a few planets away from Earth.
Right.
And imagine that, like, the season right before Lightfall is a Lord Shaxx season. It's like Shaxx, Saladin, and Zavala are all teaming up to, like, and Saint, like, just all four of the Titans are, like, raising their individual forces. You got Saladin raising up the remainder of the Iron Lords and the Cabal. You've got Zavala rallying the Guardians, obviously. Shaxx is doing the training in the Crucible and getting all his robots ready. And Saint is amassing the Elixni.
Oh, stop. You're getting me hyped.
That would be awesome. Like, that would be cool. Like, you have to be like, well, we can kick the Witness's ass, and then you have to get the shit beat out of you in order to do it. It would give you a devastating character moment, most likely. Like, there are plenty of things you can do here. And then there's the wild card of, well, Crow may not be a Titan in that scenario, but could you imagine Crow arriving with the Awoken fleet? What's left of it?
Oh my gosh.
Because Mara has been clear. She still has a role to play in all of this.
Right.
And we know that. We know that directly from from what Mara has told us, from what Eris has told us, from what Savathun knows. Like, Savathun's worm even knows, dude. Mara has a role to play in all this still.
Right.
We got to deal with Wrath eventually. Savathun's not dead, dude. Her ghost is still out there. He's gonna totally resurrect her. Like, when does that take place? Right. There's so many things that still have to happen, and we're kind of running out. I don't want to be like, oh, we're rapidly running out of time. Like, inevitably, some of these probably will not be wrapped up before the final shape. But you have one more expansion and 6 seasons to go, and you're gonna have to change up the seasonal model at some point. Because the seasonal model is just not working. It's not bad, but like when it's like this season, it's rough, man. It's rough. Like the story is so good, but only having the event in one little area of the Leviathan is just devastatingly bad.
There's something off about this season, and I don't know what it is.
Honestly, I think it was a result of them shifting resources to do Season of the Risen. Because a lot of this is reused assets, and I don't want to say reused assets are bad at all. Okay, they're not bad at all. We got 3 complete story missions with variations on them. We got a whole lot of the Leviathan back, almost the entire Leviathan back, probably between all that. I've seen people complain like, oh, you could have brought the dungeon. You could have brought the raids back. Like, no, that goes explicitly against their philosophy. I really think that Bungie should just, and I know they don't want to do this, but look how good the seasons were content-wise in Forsaken, when you only had 3 seasons of content. So you let the expansion stand on its own, and then you had 3 seasons after that. I'm not saying, oh, let's just not have a season at all when it comes out, because I think you do have to kick off the seasonal storyline, but make it kind of mini like it was last season. Like, last season, I think, was the time to throw the Leviathan in there, when we were already distracted with the throne world and everything else. It would have been less of a grind.
Yeah.
But that's just my idea. I mean, like, I like the idea of the battlegrounds because they can be reused, right? Those can be reused. I wouldn't be shocked to see maybe 1 or 2 of the Sever missions be retooled as Vanguard ops eventually. I mean, I think that's what you should be doing. You can make them really dense with enemies. You can make those really hard. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. You have to figure out a delicate balance there. And there's been a clear shifting of resources over towards trying to help with the end game and helping with PvP. And, you've always got people working several seasons and several expansions out. I don't want to say like, oh, well, it's because it was this particular team, because the team that's working on this is the same one that gave us Chosen, if it goes by the pattern.
Right.
Chosen and Lost, but it feels like this was probably cobbled together, and they were like, okay, it's good enough. We got to do other things. And I mean, they're trying to fix the sandbox. The subclass, I think subclass 3.0 is really wearing down too. At this point, the resources. Arc, I feel, is going to come in incredibly hot at this point.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too.
I kind of expect Arc to be really bad. I mean, like I've seen, and I've talked about this even in my friend groups, like, you know, oh, Void 3.0 felt so much better and so much more power fantasy. And I'm sure we'll bring it up next week too when we have Nerd here with us, because he kind of felt the same way about Solar 3.0 at first and then found a build he really liked. But my whole thing is like the viability of something should not weigh solely on the artifact mods for a season, because that's an inherently flawed system then. Like for me, like right now, Classy Restoration is absolutely what I'm banking on when I run Solar.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to be like that. Like, yes, as a hunter, I still have a very good build without that, but not everybody else does.
Right.
So I can only imagine what Arc is going to be like for hunters at this point. I'm expecting the worst. Just to get it out there. I don't know if there's any salvaging Arc for hunters, but I would imagine that's probably what's consuming a lot of the resources here, is trying to figure out how do we play into the power fantasy without making it OP, without letting them chuck a spear all the way across the map for free. Because I mean, if you give me the spear like you did in the Battlegrounds, no one's ever going to use anything else. It's going to be mayhem all the time. So
mayhem all the time.
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always excited to see where the story goes. I want a little break from the things that are happening now, and I want to see, like, when you brought up Mithrax, I like not that like I'm thinking about all the story all the time because I'm busy being an adult and whatever, but like I kind of forgot that Mithrax was doing stuff, you know? And I want to see what he's doing. I want to see like what's going on over there, you know?
Yeah, I want to see, and I want it to be a good story when you do it. When you do it though. So we'll see.
We'll see.
All right. We have 2 lore pieces we're going to read tonight.
Let's read them, Josh. Let's do some
from the
lore corner.
Lore corner.
Let's get down with some lore.
Okay, that's gross. We're gonna do some of Eris's lore for the season. It's from the seasonal armor set, the Eidolon Pursuant set. This is number 2. I think we did number 1 a while back, but if we haven't, we'll do it at some point. It's not super important, but we'll do it. Eris Morn shocks the floor in the Helm Wing, previously inhabited by the servitor of the Elixni Splicers. The liberated tomb ship drones beside her. Through the open shielded hangar, the Leviathan is visible as a malformed knot, its shape bulging from the shadowed outline of the moon. Ikora descends the stairs. An ornately dressed warlock Thatonaut follows, their robes trimmed in bone and elaborately stitched symbols. Did you commandeer this from Mars? Ikora asks with a smile, looking over the hive vessel. Eris stands. It provided ample shielding for transporting the crown from its vault. It's here now, the Thatonaut asks, breaking his stride at the bottom of the stairs. Worry not, the helm will disembark from the city to ensure the crown is contained, Eris answers. Keep that tomb ship docked here in case we need to jettison the crown. Last thing I need is a rookie shooting you down in it. Ikora steps past the Thatonaut with a reassuring nod. Tell us what you're thinking next, Eris. Eris gestures towards the open bay door. The Leviathan is at our doorstep. Even if we unravel Callus's plan, the ship itself still poses a threat simply by its size. Callus does not require paracausal power to cause an extinction-level event. Callus's interest appears to be focused solely on the pyramid, Ikora interjects. Should that change, Zavala assures me that Kaido's fleet will provide ample, dissuasive firepower. Eris nods in rhythm with Ikora's well-reasoned words. I trust that to be true. However, whatever connection Callus has established is drawing nightmares and phantoms alike to the Leviathan. He's able to exert influence over them, but I believe we can disrupt this connection. She points to the Thanatot. You, she says and motions towards 3 chalked spots on the floor. Here, here, and here. We will require death anchors to tether the ritual. Hold your mind on the brink for as long as you can, and I will craft the sigils required to contain the crown. Then we will need volunteers. So this is just basically Eris' plan for the ritual that we undergo in the opening cutscene of the season. After that first mission, when we run away from Galaran, this is what happens. You go through this, and Keitel was supposed to be the third person, not us. Obviously, now we're having to save her ass. If you've been keeping up with the storyline, which great mission, by the way, the dialogue afterwards, especially, like, it makes me really think that the final mission that we go through, which should be at weekly reset, I don't think they're going to hold it till after solstice.
Yeah, I don't think they would either.
Will likely involve us finally getting rid of Eris's phantoms. I think we'll finally exercise her fire team.
You think they'll unwrap her eyes?
I would be surprised. I think when they unwrap Eris's eyes, it'll be at the very end.
Yeah.
Like the end of her arc. And I don't see them getting rid of Eris in a seasonal event.
Yeah, no.
So, like, she feels like a sacrifice that would happen in Lightfall, like in the opening moments, or even at the very, very end of this year, like right as it's about to go offline for maintenance, like say that's like an attack on the tower starts, and when Savathun comes back, the last thing we see before we go down for maintenance or during the evacuation or whatever is Savathun killing Eris.
Yeah.
I could see that happening realistically.
Yeah.
So, the second one is for the chest piece. You've had this for years and never thought to mention it. Eris runs her fingers over the grime-clouded containment glass, housing a large growth of Aragor within the Drifter's derelict. Wasn't hiding it. Drifter rolls Eris's Ahamkara bone over his knuckles. Ain't nobody ever asked for it. Hell, you've walked by it before, Moondust. What wonders you must have buried in this heap, Eris muses. The emerald shine of her eyes dart back and forth behind thin cloth. I could, Drifter saunters up beside her, give you the tour. We haven't the time. Tell me, what have you learned from this Aragor sample? Drifter wrinkles his face and looks up to the massive contained growth. Eris massages annoyance from her brow. She sees the playful coyness in his eyes. The hidden information he holds is bargain for some trade. Do you at least remember where you found it? Sister, you don't want to know. Eris locks her eyes on the Drifter's face. He staggers back awkwardly and shrugs. I see little nothing in the middle of nowhere. Doesn't have a name, and you don't want to go there alone. But you could take me? Eris tests his defenses. Drifter brushes off the modded fur of his shoulder guards and leans against the poorly fastened railing. Only if we take your jump ship, and I drive. Eris sighs and pushes through him. No. Drifter springs after, so that's it, you're leaving. You're being evasive, rat. Eris plucks her Ahamkara bone from his hand and stows it beneath her cloak. Contact me when you're willing to speak plainly. Drifter calls after her, hands outstretched. You don't want to stay for dinner? Eris halts, considering what disgusting amalgamation of refuse would constitute a meal here. She glances over her shoulder, one last attempt to extract information. It is strange. When Savathun drew Mars back into our space, it was free of the Aragor, but the Glycon and Leviathan both returned rampant with fungal growth. Why? She asks. He gives in. You know, it sings if you burn it just right. Drifter thumbs behind him. Subsonic. Resonates in a funny way with pyramid tech. Is that so? You don't trust me? I low-key love the friendship between Eris and Drifter.
Yeah, it's an interesting...
We got all the banter in Arrivals and in Prophecy, and it's fantastic.
You know, it's a friendship that you never expect to, like, even see happen, and it just works.
It just works. That's probably the best description.
Yeah. Two, like, they're like an odd couple, you know? It's
an
fun.
odd couple. I like it.
I mean,
I feel like if there's anybody that Drifter would risk his life for at this point, it would be Eris or the Guardian.
Yeah.
I could completely see the Drifter's derelict being what has to evacuate us personally from the last city.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If something were to happen.
I'm sure Zavala would love that.
We just come riding up to space, hanging out on top of Drifter's ship.
Yeah.
Oh, man, he'd never let us live it down.
Yeah.
What is this thing you have brought me?
Yeah. Man. Man, yeah, I just I don't know. That's where Zavala dies. He just refuses to get on Drifter's ship. This, we think he's gonna have this big ultimate death scene where he's like protecting everybody, and it just turns out he doesn't want to be on the same ship with Drifter, so he just keeps fighting.
I mean, like realistically, it's funny. Like, I imagine Drifter being the guy who makes it like all the way to the end of the story.
Yeah,
I've shared before my theories for whatever comes after the final shape. That I think Drifter is key to whatever happens in Lightfall and final shape. Like, there's a reason why Gambit hasn't just disappeared.
Yeah,
as far as I'm concerned, I could see him being one of the ones who leaves if we journey beyond the solar system, for example.
Yeah,
I could see him being the one who goes with us.
Yeah.
We've talked at length before about how we would really love to see, once the moon is vaulted, Finch become Eris's ghost.
Yeah.
Have a Shin Malphur situation. It would only be the second time ever that it's happened.
Yeah.
I think that could be something that would happen. I don't like the idea of, let's make everybody a guardian to get them out of dying. But for Eris, I feel like that would be like the perfect culmination to her arc. And I do think I think this is building to something.
Yeah.
Pretty clearly. It's either that or you got to give her Elsie's Vex fish, whatever the fuck that thing is. We got to find out what that is. We were all so interested, and then nothing.
I don't think she's getting that, though.
Bungie, you could sell so many of those in the Eververse. Another cosmetic for us.
I think they're going to sell it once they reveal what it actually is.
I would laugh really hard if it was just like the darkness version of a ghost.
I mean,
that'd be hilarious.
That's what we thought originally, though, right? I mean, that's what we thought. At first, I thought. No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know really where else. Like, so we have two more lore pieces, and they're both Eris and Drifter heavy. We're not going to read them tonight. We're probably not going to read them next week. We'll resume them in between Bungie Day and Solstice. I just feel like this is like everybody's kind of getting their pairings now, right? Like,
yeah.
Okay, of the NPCs that are still alive, like we're separating out in the little groups, like Zavala and Keitel. Crow is kind of like back between group and Saladin. Like Saladin's probably in that little group now. I feel like you could say those four are probably a group.
Yeah.
You've got Saint, Osiris, and Mithrax hanging out. Now you've got Ikora and Eris, of course, but Drifter's being dragged into it, right? That really just leaves, like, okay, Amanda Holiday. Nobody cares about Amanda, let's be honest. Nobody cares about Tess. Shax is doing fuck all. Ephrodite hasn't been seen since Rise of Iron.
Yeah, what's she doing right now? Like, what?
Fuck all. She's doing nothing. That's why I'm saying Lord Saladin's gonna assemble the last of the Iron Lords to show up. That would be a cool time for Fellwinter to come back, just saying. Anna and Elsie are doing God knows what. I mean, I kind of would probably clump Elsie and her into that final, like, group. Maybe, like, Anna is part of, like, Mithrax's group eventually. She's gonna need his help with Rasputin, let's be honest. And I'd probably put Elsie in with, like, the Darkness Vanguard that we had forming. So, I don't know. I think you've got, like, three distinct groups, like, really forming. Not Clovis. Banshee probably gets included with them, too. For experimentation purposes.
Yeah.
Finch is probably part of that trusty little group.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could pretty just, like, easily, like, say, okay, here's everybody, and then, like, I mean, Varix has a choice. Do you want to serve under Mithrax or do you want to die? Because it's your choices now.
Right.
So we shall see what happens. But that's going to do it for Lore Corner tonight.
Yeah, that's gonna do it.
That's going to do it for the episode.
I know, short one today. Compared
short
to the
one,
last
but
few.
next week's will be anything but short, I imagine. So
yeah, I'm already preparing. I've already, mentally prepared for that. It's gonna be wild. It's gonna be wild. I have my ghost right here. My little to keep me alive.
I have my Finch. I'm calling him Finch, even though he's not broken. Sitting up on my shelf up there.
You could just break one of his arms off and call him Finch.
I could, but I won't.
Anyways, Josh, thank you for your time tonight, as always. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. Remember, next week for episode 100, we will be live on twitch.tv/Tower Casuals. Please join us. We'll be joined by A1 Johnny and Nerd Journalist to talk about Destiny, Bungie, giveaways, all that kind of stuff. Josh, you want to throw in that reminder of how to enter the giveaway again before we...
Yes, the final reminder for the giveaway. Send your favorite Destiny memories or a question for next week's episode to towercasuals@gmail.com. You can also DM one of us, but I'd prefer to have them all in one place so I can just read from them easily, compile them all easily.
Yeah.
And we have to have that before we start recording. If you want that to be one, if it's going to be one of your entries, you got to have it in before we start recording.
Yep.
So I'm going to say the cutoff is 7 o'clock Central Time is the cutoff next day.
8
that
Eastern,
gives me a half
7
hour
Central,
to put everything together.
5 Pacific.
Yep. So get them on in. The other ways are to that same email. Send us, because if you're going to do it all at once, you might as well just send us all three. Send us proof that you have rated and reviewed us on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts. It does not matter when you did it, as long as it's been done. Again, it has to be done before that time. We have to have the email time-stamped by then. That's the last time I will be checking emails that day. So... But that, if you do all three of those, that gets you 3 entries. And as a reminder, we are doing a Destiny giveaway, a Destiny book giveaway. I have to locate the book, but we will tell you for sure on camera next week what it is. It will either be a grimoire anthology or it will be the graphic novel. I believe we are doing the graphic novel. I'm 99% certain that I still have spare copies of the graphic novel. If not, it will be volume 1 of the grimoire books. And Corey and I will sign it. We'll write you a nice little message. Celebrate Tower Casuals 100. We have some emblems to give away as well as for the rest of those. Guys, we have finally reached it. Episode 100. This silly little podcast has reached 100.
It's
so
crazy.
Next week, come on, join us. We're going to hang out. We're going to share our favorite Destiny memories. I'm going to read some lore. I promised some listeners that I would do voices in my my lore corner next week, that I would read a lore piece with some funny voices. So maybe I'll find something really Drifter heavy, or ideally I would love to find one with Drifter and Shax, but I don't think it exists. So I may just find one with Shax so I can have an excuse to yell. My girlfriend will be out of town that night, so I can be as loud as I feel like.
God,
I'm absolutely to do the Shax yell live, so I will give you a warning before we do it.
Oh man.
I'll do some random Destiny sound bites for us. We're gonna talk about how far Destiny has come since we first saw that original Vidoc 9 years ago. 9 years ago we saw the original Vidoc. Almost 10 years. As of this fall, it'll be 10 years since we got that original concept art in Vidoc.
Isn't that crazy?
Jason Jones.
Isn't that crazy
to think about?
That original concept art? I just remember the fallen vandal walking next to the tank in the snow, which is now Europa, right? Which
instantly the most iconic piece of art they've ever released from the game.
Yeah, I would say so.
Instantly, it's
the most recognizable for me, for sure.
Yeah,
it's literally I think the second page of the Destiny 1 art book. It's all over the place, and I just remember that we'll talk about it next week. because now I'm going to fall down a rabbit hole. We'll talk about it next week.
We're gonna have a lot of fun next week. We're gonna talk about some of our favorite memories. We're also gonna have a frank discussion about the future of the game, though. I know we kind of did that a little bit tonight with tonight's question, but I do want to read more of it next week.
Mm-hmm.
I want to read into it a little bit more. What do we think happens beyond Lightfall? We're not going to talk about Lightfall. We're going to talk about what happens beyond the final shape. What is Goliath? We're going to answer that question. And what do we think what do we think we're going to be talking about when Tower Casuals 200 rolls around, which will be right around 6 months after the final shape comes out.
Yeah.
If all goes according to plan and we're still lucky enough to be doing this in 2 more years, that will be a fascinating conversation to go back to.
That's gonna be nuts.
So we're gonna have a lot of fun next week. Please join us. You don't have to join us live if you feel up to it. If you want to come join us live, hang out in the chat. I'll have the chat pulled up while we're doing all this, or maybe I'll have somebody else pull it up so that my network doesn't crash on us. Episode 100. But we're gonna have a really fun time. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna pour a drink before we come in here. Show up with your favorite beverage and just have a good time with us. I really hope you guys enjoy episode 100 next week. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be real good.
I've got some fun questions for everybody that I want to just throw out there randomly as we're going along. We're gonna have fun with those.
Yeah. It's funny, Josh, because I've been kind of going back and archiving a bunch of stuff, just in case something ever happens, right? And I was listening to the first episode of Tower Casuals and the first episode of Weekly Strike, which was my first Destiny podcast, and there's a lot of Destiny memories to talk about next week, man. So
there's a lot.
I'm quite excited.
There's a lot.
So
we will save those for next week, though, because I'm dangerously close to falling down a rabbit hole myself right now.
Right. Yeah, so email us, all that stuff, at towercasuals@gmail.com. We want it all in one place. You can follow us on Twitter at Tower Casuals. Remember to leave us a nice review and rating wherever you listen. You can check out our YouTube channel. Josh, where can we find you?
At Josh_Finn, 2 N's on Twitter. Come follow me for conspiracy theories involving the Mavs and Knicks and Jalen Brunson, because I'm very not happy right now. And other than that, it's going to be a whole lot of Bungie Day stuff next week. I'm going to get probably really sappy on Bungie Day, honestly. It hits me kind of like a truck every year whenever we get Bungie Day and we get the release of the expansion, we get the reveal of the next expansion. Those 3 days all kind of hit me like a truck. So of course, if you've been listening for a long time, you know why. If not, I'm going to share the story again next week. But yeah, follow me. I feel like I'm more interesting than that.
You're very interesting, Josh.
Thanks, Corey.
You can follow me at I am Corey and HT on Twitter and Instagram. You can check out a bunch of my other stuff on the internet. My Nintendo podcast just hit 300 episodes this week, so you can check that out. We talked about
PAL Block 300.
Yeah.
I need to check that out. I was not able to tune in live when it happened. It was my girlfriend's only night off. But
the audio file was so big, Josh, that we had to drop it in 2 parts.
Oh my God.
It was a 4-hour live episode. So
Jesus. Okay, maybe it's a good thing I wasn't there live.
Yeah, we talked we talked a little bit about stuff at the beginning, but we also the second half of the episode was our favorite 30 Nintendo games that ever appeared on a Nintendo console.
Oh, God.
Stephanie Klimov.
It's probably a really good thing I was not there. My list would have been fairly controversial.
Stephanie Klimov joined us, so it was a good time.
Yeah.
We love Stephanie, so you can check that out if you want. But anyways, other than that, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening, and we will see you for episode 100 next week. Goodbye, Guardians.